Welcome to the Chairman's Perspective Podcast. Chairman.
You're listening to the Chairman's Perspective. I am Van Turner, here with my co-host,
DC. I'm right here, Mr. Chairman.
That's great. And on today's show, we have a committed leader, a trusted community partner, Commissioner David C. Bradford, visiting with us here on the Chairman's Perspective. So, DC, hold on to your seat. We got a lot to talk about, don't we?
Sir, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to get him commissioner. What? He's in District 2, I think it is.
District 2, representing Collierville.
Eads, Tennessee, man. He's way out there.
We'll be right back on the Chairman's Perspective, powered by the Kudzukian Network.
The Chairman's Perspective on the Kudzukian Network. Keeping it real, right, and funky.
Is this an opportunity that we can seize and express interest from the governor and the state to act on behalf of young people in Shelby County? There are stories that we don't want to tell because they will piss some folks off, make some folk mad.
Funky politics on the Kudzukian Network. Kudzukian! The Chairman's Perspective on the Kudzukian Network.
We're back with the Chairman's Perspective. I'm Van Turner, here with my co-host, DC.
Yes, sir. Sitting right here.
And we have a great show today. We have none other than Commissioner David Bradford. He's the Commissioner for District 2 on the Shelby County Board of Commissioners. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you here. Now, let's just get right into it. What is District 2? What does District 2 cover in Shelby County?
So District 2 is, I guess, about as far east as you can go and still be in Shelby County. So we've got Collierville on the south end. It moves up into Eads, and then we've got a couple of precincts that get all the way up into Cordova as well.
Really? So you cover Eads as well?
That's right.
Wow, that's a long way there, Mr. Chairman. Eads is almost, I think it's Fayette County sometimes. It's way out there, you know?
Absolutely. Wow. Absolutely. And so how many schools are in the district out there in your area?
Well, of course, we've got the Collierville High School, which you got to come take a tour of a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, beautiful school.
We've got that. And then I think there's two more high schools up in the Cordova area. I think Pisgah's up there, and there's one more. So
that's good.
Let me ask you this, Commissioner Bradford, and I've not been out there to take a look at this. I understand that Collierville High School is probably as good or as better as probably some of our college campuses we got around the country. I've only seen, I think, some of the 3D images and some of all this other stuff, but explain this building to us, man. And this thing is state of the art, right?
It is. It is massive. We had the commissioners out, I guess that was last Friday, along with Mayor Harris came out also. Mm-hmm. We got a great tour, but the facility it's amazing. It's the biggest school in the state, I believe, and they've got not only the athletics out there, they've got an indoor half football field, indoor practice field to play on.
Oh, stop! An indoor. So if I live downtown near Beale Street, I'm going to just transfer. That's a long way to get.
I've got a couple of real estate agents I can put you in touch with to move on out to Collierville.
I'll be living next door to the commissioner.
Yeah, but besides the athletics, they also had some great programs that give kids all type of certificates, so that when they graduate, they don't have to go to college. They could go right into the workforce. They've got welding certificates. They've got automotive repair, nursing. So it's a great school, great education system out there, and I want to help take what Collierville school systems and learn and kind of move that into Shelby County school systems. I think there's some great items there we could collaborate on.
Well, you're newly elected to the Board of Commissioners, but now you're not new to community service. Is it kind of what you thought it was when you ran and said, I'm going to be a commissioner, and now you're the commissioner now?
Yeah, I'm the commissioner now. Well, before I ran, I did run it by my family, and of course with two young kids, I want to make sure I understood all the time commitment. And it's fallen right in line with the time commitment. But the one thing that I think is a little bit different than I maybe didn't expect so much is that I sat in on some of the previous commission meetings and that kind of stuff, and I feel like the body we have gets along together a lot better than some of the previous commissions. I mean, it's everybody's there for the same reason. I think the makeup of the commission is a little bit different from what we've had in the past. I mean, probably the average age on the commission is probably sitting right here at Van Turner and his age, early 40s, and
that's right.
And so that's helpful too, because we all kind of come from the same generation, so we understand things the same.
Are you saying my generation is bad? I'm just asking.
I didn't say that at all. I just said that we're Van and I are from about the same generation.
Right.
That's right.
What are you guys? You guys what? Is it
we're
Gen X?
We're Gen Xers.
Gen Xers.
Yep.
So what does that make me? Just a Gen?
You're a baby boomer, probably.
Oh, wow.
I think so.
I'm 52. Is that bad?
You're close to, when were you born?
66.
You're right there at it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think it was 65.
Wow. So I'm a cross between one and not good enough to be in the other group with you youngsters. You're listening to the Chairman's Perspective, powered by the Kudzukian Network.
So, Commissioner Bradford, let's talk a little bit more about how you got to where you are. Now, this is your first office that you've held, but you've run for this office before.
That's correct. So I think the former administration, Mayor Luttrell, started a young professionals organization when he came in office.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so I got involved with that, and that was really what kind of opened my eyes up to county government and that type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I started looking and paying more attention to what the commission was doing, and realized that I thought we needed some more professional leadership probably in county politics and that type of stuff. And so after just asking around and really getting some opinions from other people, I decided to throw my name in the hat. So I did. I ran the first time and lost to George Chisholm. Mm-hmm. And, of course, George Chisholm served his, one term and then moved on. And so he and I actually got to be friends through the process.
He's a great guy.
He is.
He's a great guy.
Mm-hmm. And so when he decided he was going to run for something else, he let me know and helped me through the way to make sure I had the backing I needed.
I think his dad's Ernest Chisholm, too. That's supposed to be the principal at Germantown High School for years. Just a great guy from a great family.
He sure is.
Wow. Yeah. Sure is. Now, you volunteered and you did work in the community prior to.
Yes. So I've been, I guess my first involvement with community work was in high school when I got involved with Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, right.
Wow. And I still to this day try and do 1 to 2 builds a year, and I'm very involved out there. And my grandfather was actually involved in Habitat for Humanity, and my dad has been. So that's kind of a fun thing that my dad and I do now is we both go on a Habitat for Humanity build. So that's really where it got started. Currently, I also serve on the YMCA board and help all the wonderful things that the YMCA does. And there's a couple of professional organizations I'm involved in as well. I also try and help out with Leadership Memphis and Leadership Collierville, because I think those organizations do a great job of educating the other leaders in Memphis and in the area.
Now, you bring a certain set of skills and expertise to the commission. You are a mechanical engineer by trade.
Right. That's right.
And now you're the chair of the facilities committee. And so you're able to use your expertise to really do your job as a commissioner. So how is that?
That's been great because, as you said, my day job is designing more on the HVAC side of things for commercial buildings and that type of thing. But we see the projects not only from design but all the way through construction. Mm-hmm. And so using that knowledge base, I've been able to help the facilities committee with contractor selections and just issues that may come up in the field. I've helped Director Needham from Public Works and others just try and make sure they understand what's going on as well.
So now the facilities committee, now is that all of the properties that Shelby County owns, and how many do we own?
I don't know that we
I'm
even
sure
know
there's a
that.
bunch of them, right?
Right. And
I guess not to include what the parcels out there, I guess the lots and all that stuff, because there is a Shelby County land bank. Mm-hmm. But in terms of our buildings that we're actually working in on a daily basis, I imagine probably not that many, but it's a few of them. Right?
There's a lot, and I'm working with the committee as well right now because we're trying to get a kind of assessment done to get a better understanding of what all buildings are we have and what condition all of them are in to help better know where we need to spend the money on upgrades.
I got a tough question, Mr. Chairman, for both of y'all.
Uh-oh.
Does Shelby County government or does the Shelby County School Board own the Shelby County schools now?
Well, that is a good question. In some instances, the government of Shelby County owns the building. Yeah. And the schools utilize the building.
Okay.
But I think in most instances, the buildings are owned by the school system because in one instance, let's take Vance Middle School. Yeah. We were, offering to get that school from the Shelby County schools, and we were going to, do something with it. And we had to ask the school board to transfer a title over to us. So I think for the most part, it's cleaned up. When I was a lawyer with the school system, the Memphis City schools, that was an issue. You have property owned by the city of Memphis, by the county, and some by the school system. We had to get clear title in order to do a couple of other things, especially when we were going through the merger and demerger. We had to get title cleared up on a lot of that property. So
I bet a bunch of people just didn't know. Right. It's just one of those things again in life. Yeah. I just didn't know. Yeah. So I guess we'll get on out of here. Mr. Chairman, what do you think?
Yes, sir. We'll be right back on the Chairman's Perspective, and we are here with David Bradford, who represents District 2 of the County Commission. We'll be right back.
The Chairman's Perspective on the Kudzukian Network.
Jazz, America's own original musical art form. When did it start? Who were and are some of the major players? How do you distinguish what kind of jazz you're listening to? We talk about the great and lesser-known artists, songs and tunes, the instruments, and the social impact jazz has had on world culture since its beginning at the start of the 20th century.
Riffin' on jazz on the Kudzukian Network.
Kudzukian! Hey, this is Commissioner David C. Bradford representing District 2, and you're listening to the Chairman's Perspective, powered by the Kudzukian Network.
And we're back with the Chairman's Perspective. I am Van Turner, here with DC.
Yes, sir, right here.
And we have Commissioner David Bradford here in the studio with us. He represents District 2 on the Shelby County Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Bradford, we kind of discussed this a second ago, but you are a professional engineer by trade. And so where did you attend school?
So I got both of my engineering degrees from Mississippi State University. So
I hear a cowbell in the background. I didn't
you may have heard a cowbell.
I think my glass fell. I'm a tiger, so we don't take too kindly, do we, Mr. Chairman? Those Mississippi, where those guys come from?
Hey, University of Memphis Tigers. I always cheer for them unless they're playing my Mississippi State Bulldogs. They don't go pull for the Bulldogs. But no, I'm born and raised here in Memphis. I went to high school at MUS and kind of fell in love with the math and sciences there. And I'm actually a third-generation Bulldog. It's kind of funny. Yeah, my memory of a child growing up with Mississippi State was my dad yelling at the TV because they were losing football games. And so I told him one day, it was actually after I think it was the Liberty Bowl, maybe 92, Mississippi State played Air Force. And they got trounced by Air Force. And it's a typical Liberty Bowl night, rainy, cold, that kind of stuff. And I told my dad that day, I said, I don't ever want to have anything to do with Mississippi State. And so years and years passed, and so finally I started looking at colleges and knew I wanted to go into engineering, and their program is one of the top in the SEC, and fell in love with the campus and wound up going down there and getting my undergraduate degree, and had such a good job and was enjoying what I was learning. I stayed down there and got my master's in mechanical engineering as well.
That's great. Now, to get the PE designation, do you have to take an exam?
Yes. So there's two tests you have to take. I took the first one. It's a fundamental, so it's kind of the basic stuff you learn in college. So I took that while I was in school. And then most states, it kind of varies state to state, but there's a requirement that you have to work under a licensed professional for 4 years. So as soon as I graduated from Mississippi State, I moved back to Memphis, started working for a firm. And then after 4 years, sat and passed the test the first time, thankfully, so I didn't have to worry about that again. So, I've been licensed for, close to 15 years now.
And that PE license allows you to like my law license, it allows you to practice engineering.
Exactly. You put that stamp on the drawings, and then the contractors and building officials know that, somebody with knowledge of the systems has designed it.
Excellent.
I want to go back to this Mississippi State thing again. I'm sorry. I can't let it go. I'm a Tiger through and through, blue and blue, but now Dan Mullen and the rest of those guys down there, boy, they can eat my... No. But anyway, one thing about, I think, Mississippi, I've always heard for years that they have an excellent engineering program. Engineering program.
They do.
There's a lot of students they get right out of Shelby County. I mean, I'm talking about African-American students that go, I'm like, you going to Starkville? I said, yeah. They said they got a wonderful program, got a lot of money to offer these kids, and they go down there and get their engineering degree. So that's kudos to your university right there.
The other nice thing, relationship between Memphis and Mississippi State, is it's about 2.5 hours away. So it's close enough to home that you can come home, get some good home cooking or get your laundry done. But it's far enough away your parents aren't going to pop in on you, So it's good.
You do enough of that. Did you come back home and mama said, son, don't you go to school? No, you're supposed to be in class right now. What are you doing here?
Yeah, it happened a lot.
Wow. Mr. Chairman, I know you sit over there laughing, but I'm going to let that go. You went to Morehouse, so we'll stay away from that.
Yeah. So what hobbies are you into, Commissioner?
Well, hobbies, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but I have twins that are about to be 5, and so that pretty much killed all of my hobbies. I say that. I still do get away. I'm more of a introvert in nature, and so a lot of the hobbies I enjoy are kind of solo activities. So I spend a lot of time in the gym weightlifting. Do a lot of that, do a little bit of cardio work here and there. My wife does a lot of triathlons and stuff, so I've got to try and stay in shape to keep up with her.
Yeah.
Let's talk about triathlon.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that like a bunch of deals?
It's crazy.
How does she, with twins, how does she get it in? Now,
We are busy.
Now before the kids, she was doing this too as well, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't just something, well, I think I want to be a triathlete, huh?
No, it's so she also works full time, so we have to work our schedules closely together to make sure, she gets her workouts in, I get my workouts in, we're taking care of the kids. It's a busy world at our house.
Wow.
Certainly.
You're listening to the Chairman's Perspective, powered by the Kudzukian Network. One thing we like to ask all of our commissioners that come on the program, and I like to throw it to the chairman as well to get his feedback in as well. But Commissioner Bradford, we have a large number of higher learning institutions in Memphis and in Shelby County, and even across the bridge, you've got Mid-South and some other areas. Are we connecting the dots on this career technology options that we have for our young people in this community, especially in a community like Memphis, where poverty is very high? We have socioeconomic status people who may not be able to go to college, but with a good, I think you said something before in another segment, but with these options like at Collierville, where you can go and get a welding trade or something like that. Are we connecting the dots yet here in terms of a community about how do we get our young people to say, hey, look, if you're not ready for that, do this?
I think we're headed in the right direction. I think there's still a lot left to be done. For years, everybody's gone to high school, and we've kind of pushed a 4-year college, degree on them, and that doesn't work for everybody. I mean, that's not what everybody needs. And so whether it's a 2-year technical school or something like that, I think people are finally starting to realize that, college isn't for everybody. So we need to go get a 2-year degree. Or like I was saying earlier, Collierville High School offers these certifications where you get done with high school and you could already have a welding certificate and go right into work making, $40,000 a year with just a high school diploma and some certifications. So I think more needs to be done there. I've been trying to work with Shelby County school systems through a couple of different organizations on one, making sure high school kids understand what careers are available and that kind of thing. But two, also kind of educating the faculty, because some of the faculty has gone through and gotten a degree in education and gone straight into teaching, and they may tell the students, well, you can be a consulting engineer, but what is a consulting engineer? So I've tried to work with Shelby County schools and some other organizations to actually invite the faculty to come, shadow a engineer for a day, and so that they can kind of understand. So then not only is it the professionals getting involved in the school to educate the kids, but also the faculty can say, well, I went and followed an engineer last week, and this is what they do today, or I went and followed a lawyer this week, and this is what they do day to day. So I think there's more that can be done, but I think we finally are headed in the right direction there.
Mr. Chairman, your perspective on that as well?
Yeah, I think that we have to do it. When I was in school, I clearly remember that we had the auto mechanic shop.
Yeah.
And so, the young men were learning how to, as they would say, take an engine apart and put it back together, and make the car run. And so those young men went out and they started making money, and I was, getting a bill at Morehouse,
that's right,
collecting debt, while they were out, making money. And so I think that Commissioner Bradford is absolutely right. We have to, fulfill the job needs in this community, and every job is not necessary that you have a 4-year degree, a liberal arts degree. I mean, a lot of these jobs are technical. You can get the certification. You can make good money. You can help support these great companies who want to move into this city and county, and everyone is happy, and we're building a stronger county. So I really co-sign with Commissioner Bradford. I think that we need to emphasize alternative career paths, and I'm so happy that Collierville is doing what it's doing. And I like to see these technical trades offered in every school throughout the county because it's necessary. It's a smart thing to do, and it gives our young people an alternative to make a living and to provide an honest living for themselves and their families.
Wow. Well, we'll put a pin right there. Mr. Chairman, we'll put a pin right there. We'll be right back with Chairman's Perspective and Commissioner David C. Bradford of District 2 right here on the Kudzukian Network.
Chairman. The Chairman's Perspective on the Kudzukian Network.
The off-year electorate, the midterm electorates, are older, less diverse, more conservative. You have two electorates fighting for the future of this country. And what I'd say to your viewers and people listening in is, you know what? You got to stop that older, less diverse electorate from funking around with your future.
Funking up your airwaves and jamming the good information in your ear. Once again, it's Funky Politics.
Funky Politics.
And we're back with the Chairman's Perspective. I am Van Turner, here with my co-host, DC.
Yes, sir, right here.
And we're here with Commissioner David Bradford. He is the representative for District 2 on the Board of Shelby County Commissioners. And we're having a good conversation. Let's switch to the Tennessee General Assembly. You represent, of course, the Collierville School District. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so we all know that the voucher bill was put into effect by the governor, and we kind of took an opposing view. What are your thoughts on just that bill and the effect it may have on the Collierville School District?
Well, I think I'm in agreement with you. I was not in favor of the voucher bill at all. I understand it is a state law, but I was a little disappointed that basically the entire state got to elect a law that really just affected 2 counties. That seemed a little crazy to me. It seems like we ought to have a little more say-so in that.
Right.
So I was certainly not in favor of that. And, of course, I've talked to all of the Collierville superintendent as well, and we have some real concerns over that bill. So I'll be interested to see where that goes.
Right.
And you're losing Dr. Aiken out there. I just thought about that, man. He's retiring.
That's right.
That guy has been tall timber for years here in the districts. Memphis City Schools at first. Well, excuse me, Shelby County Schools and now Collierville Schools. You guys are losing a gem out there.
Yeah, he's been great to help us get the school system up and running, the high school and that kind of stuff, and we are definitely going to miss him.
Let's talk a little bit about collaboration. I think under this chairman, you'll have done something I have never seen. I've been around this town for a lot of years. I have never seen a co-collaborative meeting between not only the county commission and the city council. It looks like it was just about everybody there, and the Shelby County School Board. How are you all able to do this? I mean, you're sitting there, you're a newbie on the team, just like a bunch of others are, right? And I know you had to say, is this really happening?
Well, I think collaboration is critical. I mean, besides that, I also try and get together with the Collierville Town Administrator. We meet about every other month, and I try to stay involved and focused on what's going on in Collierville and make sure I know anything that the county's doing that is going to affect them and vice versa. And I would hope that the other commissioners that have some municipalities in their areas are doing the same thing. But I know y'all had the mayor from West Memphis on a little earlier. Yeah. Listen to that one, and I agree wholeheartedly with what he said. I mean, we need to focus on collaboration in the whole area, not just inside of Shelby County, but South Haven and West Memphis and that kind of stuff. Because if a new company or something comes to town, if it comes to DeSoto County, it still is going to help Shelby County, and if it comes to West Memphis, it's still going to help. So we need to focus on as much collaboration as we can do. One of the groups I'm involved with, Urban Land Institute, ULI, started something about 4 years ago called Region Smart. And so they try and bring all the mayors together from the surrounding counties and municipalities and as much as they can and try and have them meet regularly to kind of talk about what's going on in the region and that type of stuff. And I think that's critical. I've been very involved in that and trying to help that keep going to make sure we are all talking and we're all on the same team when stuff is trying to come to this area to make sure we get it, whether it's in West Memphis or DeSoto County or Shelby County, just make sure it comes here.
Just regionalism, right?
Exactly.
And you're listening to the Chairman's Perspective, brought to you by the Kudzukian Network. So, Commissioner Bradford, I'm kind of disappointed in myself because I cannot name one alderman for Collierville. And so, yes, we've had, DC, those collaborative meetings with Memphis City Council and the Shelby County Schools. And next, we need to meet with all the other 6 legislative bodies within this county because they are just as important as the Memphis City Council. And I was starting to do that, and then something else blew up because I had gone to each of the websites for I think they call automatic councils, and I think that's the next step. And so you're hearing it for the first time.
Right here on the Chairman's Perspective.
Right here on the Chairman's Perspective.
I've actually been working on something with Collierville.
All right, we need to do that.
When I invited the commission out to Collierville for, not only do we get a tour of the high school, but some folks stayed around. Collierville has a double-decker bus.
Yeah.
Like, Great Britain double-decker bus.
Yeah, I saw it.
And so some of the commissioners stayed around and the mayor stayed around, and we got a little tour of Collierville on the double-decker bus. And so my intent was to also get the aldermen involved in that as well, just, again, building relationships, because that's a lot of what goes on here. And so unfortunately, none of the aldermen could make it from Collierville, so we will definitely try and set up another meeting.
We need to do that. We need to meet with Germantown, Collierville, Bartlett, Millington, Lakeland, and Arlington and get to know our fellow legislators.
That's right. Makes sense.
I think we have to do it. And the motto is one county.
Yep.
One county.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we are. And so are there any upcoming events in Collierville that we need to know of? Collierville, for the listeners, if you haven't been to the Collierville Square, you are really missing something special. The courthouse is right there, so I've actually gone to the court there in Collierville a few times. And if you walk that square, you really can get that old time feeling of that court square, and get you a scoop of ice cream, or just sit out and watch everyone walk by. It's really beautiful. So I'll encourage all the listeners to take some time and go out to Collierville. And David didn't pay me for that. I'm just talking.
No,
paid you by David C. Bradford.
No, that's exactly right, Chairman. I mean, just as we've seen redevelopment going on in Memphis and other areas, Collierville's been trucking right along as well. We've seen a lot of new growth in the Collierville Town Square. There's a lot of wonderful restaurants to come down there. Starting in June, every Thursday during the summer, they have a little concert there in the gazebo in the town square, so you can come bring your picnic blanket and hang out. It's not a music fest type of concert. It's more of a laid back, family affair. Everybody kind of hangs out. There's plenty of restaurants to, go eat at and that type of stuff. So that'll be kicking off, I think, the first Thursday in June. They've got a concert scheduled. And then, of course, the big thing in the summer in Collierville, which is similar with all the municipalities, is our fireworks show. So we'll have a huge fireworks show on 4th of July, and big activities, and they'll have a stage set up with bands playing and that kind of stuff. So it'll be a lot of fun.
I'm going to show you something, Commissioner Bradford. I just thought about this, but my great-great-grandfather is from Collierville.
Oh, wow.
And he used to work for like the MLG&W equivalent of what it was for Collierville in the early 1900s. And there's an article about him because he did something and helped do something great. And I have that article. His last name was Turner. I think it was J.B. Turner. But I'll get that article. But it was in Collierville, and I'll have to. They migrated from Collierville to South Memphis.
So, they moved up a bit. Is what you're trying to say, right?
From South Memphis. So, I'll get that to you.
I'd love to see it.
Yes, sir. A little history there.
Yeah, that's some good history.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you to go on record there, Commissioner Bradford. I know the Tigers are in your sights right now. We're not going to talk about the Bulldogs right now. But Penny has had one heck of a month, has he not?
Oh, man.
What in the world are we doing at U of M, man? Gosh.
Man, we're doing it right. It's what we're doing.
I think, and I don't want to call it, but I'm just saying, hey, look, we're going to come out of whatever region they have us in.
Do that.
We're coming out of the region. We're going to be in the Final Four, man. This is phenomenal. Have you seen anything like this before?
Never.
This is phenomenal.
Never. It's been great. And our Grizzlies, too. Grizzlies got
number 2 pick.
Number 2 pick.
They'll be in the playoffs.
Look, Memphis is here. Yeah. Memphis is back, baby. We're back.
Amen.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, you got this thing.
Well, this has been a great show. We appreciate you coming on the show,
No problem.
Commissioner.
I enjoyed it.
Looking forward to that joint meeting with the Collierville City Council. And we'll be right back on The Chairman's Perspective, powered by the Kudzukian Network.
The Chairman's Perspective podcast on the Kudzukian Network.
Hey, I'm your host, Cynthia Daniels.
And I'm your co-host, Williams Brack. And Grindset takes a deep dive into the mentality of the entrepreneur in Memphis.
This show unpacks the entrepreneurial journey. What's your Grindset?
So make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, or your favorite podcast provider.
Grindset on the Kudzukian Network.
Kudzukian! Well, we really had a good show today. Commissioner David Bradford was really impressive. I mean, he's a professional engineer. He's a family man. He's an athlete.
He did say he lifts weight. I think I grabbed him on the arm and said, I'll throw you out of the studio, and then I grabbed it out now and let it go real quick.
Look, ain't nobody jumping on Commissioner Bradford anytime soon.
No, I'm too short for that. I can't do it. My arms are too short. I can't do it. Doc.
That's right. And we talked about vouchers, and he's taken rather some pretty bold moves. Again, he's not followed the party in the voucher bill, and we heard him say that.
Yeah, he did. He said it on record. He said, look, he was against it. He talked to a bunch of the aldermen out there and a bunch of folks who were stakeholders in Collierville, and said, "Hey, we can't do this. It'll hurt Collierville schools, right? It'll hurt Shelby County."
Exactly. He pushed the technical trades, and he, like I, believe that not every child goes or needs to go to a 4-year institution.
That's right.
So I think that this is a good show. I think that Collierville and District 2 should be proud to have David Bradford represent them. And I think that this is an all-around a great show. What do you think?
Let me tell you something, Mr. Chairman. I was on my heels over here because he was talking about a lot. He was talking about a lot. He talked about how Collierville and Eads are really trying to get things right out there. And they know they're a part of a bigger community, which is Shelby County, right?
And as always, we're a phone call away, we're a text away, we're only an email away. We've enjoyed having you here on The Chairman's Perspective, powered by the Kudzukian Network, and we'll see you next time.
The Chairman's Perspective Podcast. Executive producer, Shelby County Commission's Van Turner. Hosted by Chairman Van Turner Jr. and Darrell DC Catron. Recorded at Kudzukian Studios. Directed, produced, and distributed by Kudzukian.